In very simple terms, I tell the youngsters the human body is supposed to be sleeping PM time and waking up AM time. Protein cannot be stored in the body like carbs can be stored, fat can be stored.
So the protein cannot be stored.
Protein cannot be stored. Carbs are of course very important because they are the main fuel for the body.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, in fact, as you have been saying, nutrition has a huge role to play. I mean, we are what we eat.
Alright, welcome to Unstoppable, where we celebrate the relentless pursuit of excellence, powered by RiteBite Max Protein. I, as always, am your host, Rohit Bose Roy, and today we're diving into the world of nutrition and wellness. You know, usually we have a couple of people, somebody who's going to talk about working out, somebody's going to talk about nutrition, but on today's episode, we have Niti Desai, a renowned consultant nutritionist from Mumbai, with a rich educational background from the University of Mumbai and Leeds Beckett University. Niti's journey is a testament to the power of dedicated healthcare professionalism. Her extensive work in diet and nutrition counseling has not only transformed individual lives, but also set new standards in dietary practices in India. Without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Niti. I'm very, very glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to give you a little background about Unstoppable. We usually talk a lot about working out, and we hardly get to talk about nutrition, which is why you are here today. Because I personally believe that health के लिए nutrition शायद 80% important है, working out 20, 25, 30%. सबसे पहले शुरू करते हैं आपके साथ. I want to know, how did you start? How did you get into nutrition? Because I'm assuming the time you got in, it wasn't very, very popular like it is today with Instagram and countless nutritionists all over the city. How did you think of getting into it, and what all did you do?
Yes, you're quite right. When we started off, nutrition was not such a big thing.
Yes.
I do come from a family of doctors, so medicine was my first choice. I got into medicine not in Mumbai, outside. Again, at that time, the family was not very keen that I go out of Mumbai.
Right.
I did my biochemistry, life sciences at St. Xavier's.
Oh, you're a Xavier.
Yes.
So am I.
And then I did my master's in nutrition because that was kind of allied to medicine. And then, of course, I went to the UK where again I studied further.
That's Leeds Beckett.
Yes, that's right. At that point, it was called the Leeds Polytechnic, which has been now renamed.
Okay.
And then I was working there for a couple of years, trained there, and then we came back. So that is how it kind of all started. And let me be quite honest, when we started off, there was a lot of struggle in the sense that nutrition was not considered so important. Even in the clinical field, the doctors would advise the patients what to do, what not to do. They were not referred to the dietitians or nutritionists.
At all?
But not as much.
Wow.
No. They would only write up, what has to be done. But over the years, of course, nutrition has blossomed and how.
And everybody has come to realize that nutrition is probably the most important thing when it comes to wellness, overall health and wellness. Question two before you dive in. Was there any personal issue in your family or close ones or friends that prompted you to go so deep into nutrition, or was it just because your family was a family of doctors?
No, in that sense, no, I wouldn't say there was any such precipitating factor.
Right.
But as I said, I've just kind of grown up in medicine. So this kind of seemed the most important and the next kind of thing, if not medicine.
Right.
I did get into dentistry, but that was not something I fancied. Yeah, I didn't fancy that as much. And I'm not regretting.
Of course. Today you're actually related to a field which is very, very, what should I say? It's not only very popular, but it's also very needed. It's the need of the hour. Let's go back a couple of years back when we were struck by that wave called COVID. And a lot of people did get very seriously ill. And my doctor had one thing to tell me that, I asked him that, a lot of young people suddenly have these lung issues. They have heart ailments, which we've never heard of. Usually a heart attack would be associated 50 plus, 60 plus. Today you see people who are 29, 35, even under 40 getting heart attacks. But do you think this has something to do with only that wave of COVID, or does it have something to do with lifestyle and nutrition?
So again, studies have shown that the Indians get these so-called lifestyle diseases, be it diabetes or heart disease, 10 years earlier than the Caucasians, the white
really?
race. Yes, it is scientifically proven. We also have much smaller vessels, heart vessels. And coupled to this is the lifestyle, which is not helping. We basically are a carb-loving nation.
Okay.
Indians just love carbs. Whether
Oh
you
my
go
God, yes.
north or south, east or west, first it was a thought that maybe one part of the country eats a lot of carbs and not the other. But no, uniformly we are eating a lot of carbs. So we are thin fat Indians.
A strong reason why we develop all these like you said, non-communicable diseases earlier than the Caucasians?
Yes, so there is a bit of genetics we can blame for. We are thin fat Indians. Basically, we have less of muscle mass genetically and a higher fat content in the body.
Oh.
And that also the fat is basically deposited around the abdomen.
Yes.
So the good news is that fat is easy to go, but the bad news is But the bad news is that fat is directly related to the incidence of diabetes, heart disease, cholesterol level, blood pressure.
Okay.
So we need to. So genetics is something we can't change. That's a
Correct, of course.
non-modifiable factor. But there are many modifiable factors which we can change, beginning with the diet. And then, of course, the physical activity, which is also only getting lesser because we are living such a sedentary lifestyle.
And also dependent on also these kind of instruments where, today, going off topic, today's kids who are 12, 13, 14, we used to never be at home. We used to be out of home. And today, most of the times, they're sitting on the computers or laptops or even smartphones. Because kids are given smartphones at 12 today. I believe even earlier.
Absolutely.
That has a huge bearing also.
True.
What is so now, since you started so long back when it was a very nascent stage in India, how has your philosophy towards nutrition evolved or changed with the current scenario of the world and health?
So I think a couple of points. One is that obviously the science of nutrition has progressed. We know a lot more than we knew earlier.
Right.
And unfortunately, the nutrition or the dietary habits have only gone southwards.
Really?
Yes, in the sense that we are eating a lot more empty calories, lot more junk food.
Example about empty calories.
Taste अच्छा है, makes you feel good, but nutrition कुछ नहीं है, कुछ नहीं हाँ. So
ये जो लोग बिस्किट बेचते हैं कह के कि ये बहुत अच्छा रागी बिस्किट है, ये बहुत डाइजेस्टिव बिस्किट है वगैरह वगैरह, उसमें भी कुछ न्यूट्रिशन नहीं होता है जितना भी प्रोसेस्ड.
So some might be better than the others,
but they are
but
okay.
yes, there are a lot more natural foods where there is a lot of goodness, and they are not so calorie damaging.
Okay. And if you were supposed to say, there's one thing which I personally want to ask you, because it's been a constant struggle for me also to keep my six-pack going,
Sure.
And I like food. It's not that I don't like food. A lot of people believe that if you eat more, you become fatter. You, before we came on, told me about a story about an Indian doctor and a doctor in, say, America or London or Australia, who looks thinner but has actually got more body fat than the other guy. How does this happen?
So this is what we call thin fat Indians. So we have, we might look the same or we might look smaller than the white counterparts. But for the same body mass index, which is a comparison of height and weight, we are carrying a lot more fat and lower muscle volumes.
Okay.
Okay. So in fact, this is a time when I should ask you, so how are you managing to keep your...
Yeah, good question. So, I have kept it very simple all my life, really. I keep saying this again and again on my podcast that, people make it rocket science. Nutrition and working out is really not rocket science. Of course, there's a science behind it, which you have mastered, but it's very easy to actually remove. I read a lot. My primary source of education has been, obviously, I've not gone to school for nutrition, but I read a lot, and I read a lot of papers from Mayo Clinic and all those. So I get to know what my body And also through experience, I've realized that some foods are not good for me. It might not affect you. Like I'm a Bengali. My mother was aghast when I told her I have allergy to shellfish. She said, how is it possible? You're a Bengali. It was that simple back then. So I realized through trial and error, through leaving some foods out for a week and realizing that I'm not feeling that lazy anymore. And I do give a lot of points to nutrition first. I do work out very, regularly. I probably say 6 days a week. But I give more credence to nutrition, which is why I have a lot of questions for you today. But I try and balance everything out. I do cardiovascular work. People, especially the youngsters, a lot of people in the 18 to 25 category and then the 60 to 70 category tell me, कि हम तो चलते हैं ना, हम बहुत चलते हैं. I said, that's just low impact cardio. There's not even low impact cardio, it's steady state. It's of course, it's very good. Walking is very good for your heart health, but there's so much more we can do. So I kind of break it up. I play pickleball,
Right.
which is an outdoor sport.
Sure.
I try and do stationary cycle or use my cycle outside. I definitely do strength training.
Right.
A lot of people give it up after 50. I took it up seriously after 50. I said, I have to do it. And then, of course, nutrition, I balance it out. What is your philosophic and holistic approach? Because I have one thing to ask you. Other than the physical ailments, I've seen a lot of young people going through a lot of stress in today's fast-paced world. How do you approach it holistically through nutrition?
So,
Like if I was to come to you and say that I'm not feeling good about myself, would you somehow give a nutritional guide to such a person which elevates the mood as well?
yes, absolutely. In fact, there are more and more people who come saying that, I have very low energy levels. I constantly feel tired. I'm not the best. I don't feel the best. So yes, in fact, as you have been saying, nutrition has a huge role to play. I mean, we are what we eat.
Correct.
So what we put in our system obviously gets reflected or manifested. So there are a lot of things which we can do to up the energy levels, to elevate the mood. So there are certain foods which of course help elevate the mood, help increase energy levels. But there are a lot of things which we don't have to do. And besides nutrition, of course, it's also the sleep. The sleep cycle has been really messed up in youngsters.
Yes, absolutely. They don't understand the recovery that happens with sleep and only with sleep. There's nothing else that can help you recover.
And they're sleeping at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and then the argument is that, but I'm sleeping 9 hours. So how does it matter?
Oh, is there? I also didn't know this. So what is the argument with that?
So there is, we have a body clock which is aligned with the light,
Right.
what we call the circadian rhythm.
Correct.
So there are certain hormones which are released during nighttime, certain which are released during daytime.
Okay.
So when you are awake at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., the body is confused whether this is day or night.
Okay.
Okay. And similarly, when you're asleep at 9 a.m. In very simple terms, I tell the youngsters, the human body is supposed to be sleeping PM time and waking up AM time, not sleep AM and wake up AM. That was not how it was planned.
So what is the ideal, supposing I wanted a tip from you, what is the ideal time to sleep, given my commitments at work and otherwise, social commitments also we have?
Of course.
What is the ideal time in the ideal world to sleep and wake up, according to circadian cycle?
Right. So it would be, again, taking into consideration the lifestyle that we are living, it's never going to happen as it used to happen earlier. But even if you're looking at 10:30, 11,
10:30,
11, yes, it still works better than sleeping, 1:30
You said you
a.m.
wake up in the AM, are you meaning before 6 o'clock? or-
No. Again, so that is, there are our there are old scriptures and shastras which say that if you wake up, the earlier you wake up, the better. But again, one has to be practical.
Correct. You have to.
So a very reasonable time, 7:30, still work.
10:30 to 7:30 is a good 8 hours of sleep.
Yes.
You mentioned that our diet, especially our Indian diet, has a lot of carbohydrate content, which is great for energy. But what is your take on our country not having enough protein in their diet? Because for me, if I don't have enough protein in my diet, my workouts suffer. I can't lift the weights that I normally do.
Yes.
So I supplement, of course. A lot of us do supplement because we are athletic. What is your take on the protein intake which is required for us Indians?
So again, ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, and the National Institute of Nutrition, which are the premier bodies in the country, have told us that our daily requirement for protein is 0.8 grams per kg body weight. This is not for you. Not somebody
Yeah, please tell me also. Yeah, 0.8 for the normal guy
who is a sedentary lifestyle. So if you are a 60 kilo person, you still need 48 grams of protein in a day. Okay, which is not happening.
Even that is not happening.
That is not happening. For example, if I just tell you, breakfast is upma poha. Okay.
No protein.
Then you mid-morning, if people are good, they'll have some fruit. Lunch is roti sabzi, because a lot of people can't travel with the dal. It's too messy, blah, blah, blah.
Again, no protein.
Majority of the Indians are vegetarians, right? And even those who are non-vegetarians are perhaps, most of them are having non-veg 2-3 times a week. It's not like they're having it daily.
Not every day, correct.
Lunch is over, evening snack, people will have sukha bhel, vada pav, samosa, right? Yes. No protein. Dinner, because there are, say, kids in the family, they don't want to eat roti sabzi again. So then there is pav bhaji, and then there's pasta, and there's pizza. Where is the protein?
Wow.
So it's a serious problem. And in fact, if we just step up our protein intake and reduce our intake of carbs, we can halt this relentless march towards obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol levels, or heart disease, high blood pressure, the so-called lifestyle diseases that India is going to be the capital of.
Yeah,
right?
That really scares me. So
Yes.
Which are these diseases that India is going to be capital on?
Well, they're saying that we have a huge burden of diabetes. The numbers are staggering, and also heart disease.
So is diabetes not genetic? Does it have anything to do with the way you're made up already at birth?
No. So the adult diabetes type 2 is, if there's somebody is diabetic in the family, you have a higher chance of getting it, but that's not it. You can easily push it. You can not have it also.
Okay.
That's where the lifestyle comes in. The physical act, the nutrition and the physical act.
So tell me supposing, I can tell you, my mother's diabetic, but me and my brother are fine. Supposing I was not fine and I asked you this question at 20, what would you tell me to do in terms of, say, exercises or my fitness routine or my nutrition to delay or to make sure that diabetes doesn't affect me at all?
Right. So, basically then you are the classic example.
Right.
Where it's
But I don't know how I did it, so I want to know.
It's in the family,
Right.
but you haven't got
Yes,
it.
no.
And both of you have not
Both
got
of
it.
us haven't, yeah.
So it's the lifestyle. You are absolutely physically, obviously, you're very active,
Right.
and you take care of your eating habits, and therefore you are able to not have it or delay it for sure.
So now my question is different. My question is, supposing you don't know me, and my question is that my mother or my father has diabetes, and I want to make sure that through my lifestyle, I don't get it. So what is it that I should do, and what is it that I shouldn't do?
Number one, maintain your weight.
Okay.
You cannot be overweight or obese. Then you're increasing your chances of diabetes by straight 50%.
Okay.
Right? Through the diet, as I said, mainly cut down the carbs.
That also leads to diabetes?
Yes.
Okay, so
And increase the protein intake significantly.
That's quite simple.
Yes.
Be active.
And third, be active. Physical activity is a must. Okay. Something that you enjoy and is going to be sustainable. Okay. Don't pick up something that you'll do for a week, 10 days, and then, it will fizzle off because, yeah.
A lot of people, I wanted to talk to you about the fads as well. Because since you're a nutritionist, my questions are all kind of revolving around nutrition. Today, if you go on the net, there will be 100 nutritionists giving you 100 pieces of different advice. And when I read 5 reports on, say, wheat, all 5 reports have different things to say about wheat, and that confuses the hell out of me. And with me, who studied so much about nutrition, what is your take on these gurus who are coming and talking about nutrition? How does a young person starting off sift through the garbage and come to know that this is what is good or correct?
So, of course, very often we are spending a lot more time in de-learning. The patient comes in with Dr. Google's printouts.
Correct.
And
I must say, my mother is another doctor Google, and I keep telling her, I said, "Mummy, हर चीज वहाँ पे वो तो खाली आंसर दिए हैं, ये 10 लोगों ने अलग अलग आंसर दिए, वो आपको उसका एक कोलेटेड जवाब मिल रहा है."
जी, और and then there are these WhatsApp forwards, and then of course now there are health coaches, there are nutrition gurus giving gyan all the time. So I think one needs to be very careful of what one picks up from the net.
Okay.
And most importantly, even the person whom you are going to, you must make sure that look at the qualifications and that this person is kind of a certified a nutritionist or a dietitian who has studied this science for a few years.
Nutritionist and dietitian?
Yes, there is, but in the Indian scenario, unfortunately, it is not. We do not differentiate
Anybody
as
who
much.
gives you a diet is a dietitian.
So in the Western world, a dietitian is somebody who works in a hospital and is looking after clinical, patients with illness.
Yeah, illnesses.
Nutritionist is something who is basically into healthy eating.
Okay.
Okay.
How important is, so supposing you were talking to a layman who didn't know anything about the grams and about the breakups, how important is protein in every single meal?
Very important, very important. In fact, extremely important. And as I said, because Indians are vegetarians, our protein sources are limited. Therefore, one will have to put a thought behind to make sure that there is protein at
Like
every
I
meal.
supplement with this. So this is RiteBite. They make a new kind of protein which I really enjoy. It's called pea protein. Not that I have any issues with whey protein. Earlier it used to give me a little bit of bloating. Now it's kind of, I don't know why, whether it's because of my lifestyle changes. I've made a lot of changes. Would you recommend this from what age? And if at all, why from that age?
So the protein, basically, if you're not able to get enough protein from your
Which we are
diet,
not really,
yeah,
like you said.
then obviously supplementing it with is a good idea. And people who are working out, especially if you're weight training, strength training, then that post-workout protein becomes very, very important for recovery.
Absolutely.
And in fact, again, studies have shown that if you have a very small quantity of protein, even pre-workout, along with your carbs, with your banana or, then also it augments your exercise performance.
Pre and post.
Yes.
You stopped me at one question and you said, no, not for you. You said a normal guy needs 0.8. So someone like me who works out 5 to 6 days a week, does his cardio, does a sport, and I am 78 kilos, how much of protein would I need?
So basically, there's a whole range depending on your exercise intensity from 1.2 going up to 1.7 to 2.2 grams per kg body weight.
1.5.
1.5, 1.7, I would think so.
Okay.
But again, I think one caveat is that because protein is good, we need to still calculate it.
Correct.
Not always more is
More is
better.
not always good. That was my next question to you.
More is better because if the protein is not utilized, protein cannot be stored in the body like carbs can be stored, fat can be stored. So the
protein cannot be stored.
protein cannot be stored.
So what happens if I do an excess protein? It
So-
damages my...
No, so the nitrogen of the protein, which is what makes protein more expensive and different, is removed by the body and thrown off because it cannot be stored. And the rest of the skeleton gets stored as fat.
Oh, God.
So it's doing you more harm than good.
Okay, so I should not exceed whatever
Yes.
protein has been.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So this is something I'm not really paid attention to. When you meet the youngsters today, say who are starting off, do you get people with eating problems who have come to you for nutrition, or do you only talk to people who you're advocating good nutrition to? Has somebody come to you and said that, I can't keep this down, or I can't, something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this morning I had somebody who came with irritable bowel syndrome.
Right,
He
IBS.
can't keep the IBS, and he's been suffering from it. And again, he was doing well. A friend told him that I'm going to take you to this naturopath who will cure you of this.
God.
He goes to him. This guy stops all the protein, everything. He's lost 6 kilos. His immunity has dropped. He's had 2-3 multiple admissions in hospital. So the doctor asked that, why have you dropped weight? And he told him, he said, just stop this and go to a qualified person.
Correct.
So all the time.
And I feel that like I told you earlier before when we were talking, there's so much of malinformation on the net about all this. But there's also one myth connected to, you also referred to carbohydrates being too much in our diet. But does carbohydrate, is it really a bad thing to eat? Because if I don't eat enough carbs, I won't have the energy. A lot of people say, "Arey, mujhe weight loss karna hai, main raat ko carb chhod deta hu." What do you have to say about that?
Carbs are of course very important because they are the main fuel for the body.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, the authorities have said that we need carbs up to 50 to 55% of the calories should be coming from carbs. But the problem is we are exceeding and we are going to up to 68 to 70%. So that's where the issue is. So
just break it up for me in simple. So supposing a layman is watching right now, what is the 70, 30, 10? How do you break it up?
So it's 50, 55, 20 is the protein.
20 is the
protein, 20%.
So 55% carbs.
50 to 55% carbs.
20 to 25% protein.
20% protein and less than 30% is fat.
Okay. So are you saying that there should be more fat in your diet than protein?
That is what will happen. Okay. I mean, again, this is for a normal. So in a very simple term, if we have a plate, then half the plate needs to be filled with vegetables and salad. 1/4 needs to be carbs and 1/4 needs to be protein. Just now what is happening is 3/4 of our plate is carbs and there's little protein lurking somewhere or none.
And this is a personal question. I've been dabbling with this thought for years and years, and in the middle for 2 years, I had also stopped non-vegetarian food. I just felt a lot better, but my trainers at the gym have put it into my brain that I need to eat either meat or chicken or fish on a daily basis. Now, I feel sluggish after that. I don't know whether it's a personal thing or does it happen to other people. And I meet a lot of bodybuilders who are vegetarian. What is your take on this? Given also, there are a lot of economic constraints in the majority of India.
Yes.
Everybody can't afford that white protein or fish or chicken or meat. And then they eat really bad quality of, which has got more fat.
Yes.
So as a generalized opinion, what would you say?
If you can include non-vegetarian food, good. It's of course a very good first-class protein.
Okay.
We would still, even to the hardcore non-vegetarians, we tell them have 1 meal vegetarian, 1 meal non-vegetarian. Non-vegetarian food doesn't have to be at all the meals because it has its own issues. But having said that, if you are a vegetarian, it's not that you can't get enough protein and you can't have a great body. As you said, there are enough people. And as you said, you stopped having non-vegetarian food. So
have eggs because I'm addicted to eggs. I just love eggs. That's why I have eggs. But it doesn't bother me at all.
A lot of people don't consider eggs as so it is very much possible, but it will have to be planned.
Okay.
You can't do it ad hoc.
So thoda aur help kar do na. What are the great sources of plant proteins?
So plant proteins basically, if you are vegetarian and you're open to dairy, then of course milk, yogurt, dahi.
Okay, let me pause you. Who should not be open to dairy? Somebody who's lactose intolerant, and you have to test for that, right?
Absolutely.
Just because it's a fad, you don't stop.
That's right. You said it. You said it right. So it's almost fashionable to be not having dairy.
Right.
People are not having dairy for different reasons, and they're turning vegan. So
animal lovers and
there are enough reasons. Okay. Yeah. No, but if there is you're animal lovers, you're worried about the planet, which is a very, very big reason and good enough reason to go vegan, that's fine. But if you're avoiding dairy for other,
that's
just because it's fashionable. So otherwise, milk, yogurt, of course, paneer, these are the first class proteins, the best quality proteins for vegetarians. Soy is also first class protein.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Did you take the name of soy and milk? Because I've just read another article which says that milk is not meant for you and it is not assimilated by your body.
So again, there will be enough books, and if you turn to a naturopathy, they will in fact tell you that no animals in the animal kingdom has milk after it grows
Correct.
up. It's only it has it in infancy
Right.
or in the early years.
And also, no animal will have another animal's milk. So why are humans having?
Correct. But
So debunk this myth for me.
so these are the arguments. But then that we can continue. Then how can you have non-vegetarian food also?
Because animals have non-vegetarian food. They have other animals' ka food.
So we
I
are
have
not.
to put you on a spot and
Sure.
because otherwise these myths will keep percolating and then बोलते हैं ना मसाला लगता रहता है.
जी.
तो you are advocating milk.
I'm not a strong opponent.
Opponent.
Of
So you
that
think
should
it doesn't
not have
really?
dairy.
Okay. It doesn't
Of
harm
course,
you
you
that
can
much.
include dairy. We don't definitely want the fat. So the milk fat needs to be
And
out.
nowadays you get low
Yes.
fat milk.
So coming to soy, and then of course all the pulses and dals.
Right.
These are the
And they're
sources
all
of protein.
good enough protein for a 80 kilo man.
So the pulses and dals are called second class protein. So but then they will have to be combined with your rice, with your roti or with your jawar or bajra or some grain cereal for it to be a complete protein.
And eggs?
Eggs are of course
Are they
superb.
Are they first class protein?
First class. All the non-vegetarian sources are first class protein. So whether you talk about the meat, the eggs or even the dairy, after all it's an animal
Correct.
product. The vegetarian one, only soy, plant protein that is first class is soy. All the other pulses and dals are second class, but they can easily do the job if you combine them with the other cereals.
Okay. Another question which comes to me many times, and my trainer says there is absolutely no way to do what you're asking. Most athletes, most bodybuilders, young or old, talk about testosterone. Now, we've read, we've heard, we have faced it that, after 35, 40 for a man, testosterone almost plummets. Now, being a nutritionist, obviously you've studied it, and like you say, medical science changes, information changes. What are your thoughts on testosterone, and is there in any way, any natural way to increase the production of testosterone in a body? Because for us, it's very important.
Absolutely. There are not any proven ways. Again, if you go on the net, you will find loads of information. But there is no scientific proven way of nutrition being able to help.
Thank you for being so candid, because a lot of people do give you this advice कि ये खा लो, ये शिलाजीत ले लो, फला ले लो, अश्वगंधा ले लो और इससे बढ़ जाएगा. And this is one thing I want to tell all of you who are watching Unstoppable. This podcast was designed to bring you facts. Of course, this is the world of marketing, as we all know. Everybody is marketing something. The beef, the beef industry wants you to believe that you beef up when you have beef.
Yeah.
It's a myth. You can beef up even having the other, like she said, plant-based proteins. And similarly, a lot of people, there was a film about this, and everybody's saying you should stop eating meat completely because the world's strongest men are vegetarian. That's also, in a way, propaganda. So don't fall for all of that. Testosterone cannot increase, just like you said, there's no proven record of
Nutrition helps.
nutrition. How does somebody with a low testosterone level, other than supplementation of testosterone, I don't know whether that falls under the purview of a nutritionist, is there any way to increase the level of testosterone, maybe using synthetic testosterone? Is there any way of, and is it good?
No, there are, of course, pharma-grade products available to increase the testosterone. Of course, there are even tablets which are available, capsules.
No,
but there are pharma-grade products. If you go to a doctor, he will prescribe you.
Right.
And it has been used also. We use it in,
But that has to be done with guidance, not like the
medical
kids are doing
guidance.
straight.
No, medical guidance. Absolutely.
And so there's another counter view to what you just said. Again, coming from a very, very solid, reliable source who could actually make a fortune by selling all this, but he doesn't. I won't name him on the show, but his concept is that if your body at one point produces, say, X amount of testosterone, and you're supplementing with X into 4, you're building that body, but your body is not equipped to handle that amount of testosterone. So is that bad for your heart?
Yes, it will be. Anything in excess is not great. I mean, as I said, from protein to testosterone. Just because something is good in small amounts or the prescribed quantities, more is not always better.
Correct. What is your thoughts on TRT, test replacement therapy, which supposedly is a fad, if you've heard? I mean, it's not a fad really. A lot of older bodybuilders and actors all over the world administer testosterone to their bodies in small doses. It's called micro-dosing. Have you heard of that, and you have any thoughts about it?
As I said, it has to be done under medical supervision.
So you need a doctor who knows about that.
Yes.
Another thing what a lot of youngsters do, which I have fallen prey to also at some point in my life, they put in so much of testosterone thinking that abhi body ban jayegi, and within 3 months the effects go away. And then they put on weight, they become lethargic because the body is not automatically and naturally producing that amount of testosterone.
Absolutely. And how long can you do that? Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, see, certain fields like yours at times demands that, you know, you need to bulk up for
particular role.
yes, role for the particular season. I mean, I've had clients who say that, you know, I need to gain weight very rapidly because for this role I need to do this, or I suddenly need to lose weight, or I need to bulk up. That's a very different thing.
And you send them to a medical...
Yes, I mean, I do the nutrition bit, of course, which gives good results. And then if it is required, then of course a doctor comes in. But for a general population, somebody who is a recreational, you know, not even athlete, somebody who is doing it for recreation, body weight training, resistance training, vanity. To what extent you want to go and long-term effects, I think that needs to be weighed in and weighed out. I have enough times when this Gen Z, the 18, 20 years old come in and the parent comes in. This guy is guzzling down protein supplements, 3-4 scoops. And the parents are kind of, don't do it, but he's obviously not listening. Yeah, and then they come.
Peer pressure.
Yes, and then because again, they want the right advice. So this is very common. But what I've seen over the years is that in the general population, I tell the parents, don't worry, this is a phase. These kids do it for 2-3 years, and then they kind of, you know,
they mature.
Yes, they grow up. So
we've spoken so much about nutrition. Before I let you go, I have to ask you, you've not mentioned working out or workouts or exercises or cardio. How important do you think, along with nutrition, is expending that energy which you are putting into your body? How important that is on a scale of 1 to 10?
So it's the other leg of the table. So it's too important. It's too important. In fact, a lot of time I tell my clients that, you know, do you ever think whether I should be taking a shower today? Do you think about whether you're going to brush your teeth? So it's something like that. It's a non-negotiable activity. The intensity and the duration we can discuss. And it could be unstructured, like from walking to doing swimming to whatever you enjoy, to dancing to whatever you enjoy. But it unfortunately is a very important part of your healthy living.
I feel my personal take is very, very simple. In fact, you feel re-energized when you hit the gym or you go for a run and you sweat it out. I think I feel very active after that. In fact, if I'm really tired before that and I go to the gym, I feel much, much better.
Yeah, the endorphins are released and one feels...
The happy hormones.
Yes, the happy hormones, and one feels really, really good. So those are the other side effects, positive effects. Even sleep. If you're tired, physically tired in the gym and you work out, I mean, you're going to get sleep.
And you sleep better.
So you sleep better.
And you should listen to her because she's also... Mary Com's nutritionist. She's helped a lot of people go to the Olympics and further. Thank you so much for being with us, Niti. This was really, really insightful. I wish I had more time to go on and on, but since we don't, we're going to sign off here. And I'm going to see you guys next week with yet another episode of Unstoppable. Till then, stay healthy. Lots of love. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Excellent.
Thanks.